Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We cover this week's X-Men and Star Wars books. Now it's time to move on to this week's Avengers and some of our DC books. Kicking things off, we've got Avengers number 4. Where we left off, the Impossible City had arrived in Earth orbit, and the Ashen Combine had descended upon the planet. The Avengers, after some analysis, the Avengers each took on a member of the Combine, with the exception of Falcon and Black Panther, who the job it was to bring down the Impossible City. So we open with Black Panther setting explosives on on the Impossible City, while Captain America makes sure there's no life, no one living in the Impossible City. In the Vatican, Thor takes on Idol Alabaster, who feeds off of worship. Every attack that Thor makes on Alabaster, however, leads to injury to Alabaster's worshippers. In Sydney, Scarlet Witch is dealing with the dead, though a specter from her own past is brought against her, Zatanna. Toronto, Iron Man is dealing with the City Smith, who ends up incorporating Iron Man into his artwork. Thor takes a rather nasty hit from Idol Alabaster. Wanda's overwhelmed by the dead, thanks to Chthon. And it turns out that while Falcon didn't seem to find anyone alive in the city itself is alive. And the city claims that itself, as well as Black Panther and Captain America, are all going to die. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting. One would hope that Vision and Captain Marvel are having better luck with their opponents. But hopefully we'll find out next issue. Speaking of Captain Marvel, moving on to our next issue, we've got Captain Marvel Dark Tempest number 2. Where we left off, the villain Nitro, who was basically responsible for the death of Mar-Vell, teamed up with a being called Nada, and well, Nitro and Nada went after Captain Marvel. Carol was in the middle of talking to some kids at a youth center when a portal opened up and sucked her, a handful of the kids, as well as one of the other speakers at the youth center in. So we open with them in the portal. Carol's trying to make sure everyone survives. The other speaker, Blake, the device he created is able to keep everyone breathing. And it seems that Captain Marvel is hurtling towards an at least habitable world. There's vegetation, so there must be oxygen. Back on Earth, Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, is trying to get in touch with everyone. But well, no one's available to help. Fantastic Four, well, transfers her to the Avengers. The Avengers transfer her to the X-Men. The X-Men try to transfer her back to the Avengers. So she goes to the cops. Missing superhero isn't exactly a high priority, but Jess then brings up the missing kids and is told, hey, you should have led with that. Missing kids are a much higher priority. And Jess gets an SOS with coordinates from Carol, so she now has an idea. Turns out the desk officer might actually be able to help Jess get a rocket. Carol and the kids make landfall, or make planetfall. They move Blake's contraption out of the way and find a dead body holding a child. The child's still alive, and Carol assigns tasks to everyone. Basically, kind of, hey, I'm gonna get a look at. I'll do some recon on the planet. Nitro gets a bit of a power up from Nada, and they have to deal with her. Nada explains, shows Nitro her planet, which apparently basically the radioactive bio-waste tech garbage was from Earth was exported to said planet, kind of just basically destroying it. Gave her powers, so wasn't all bad. The rich had hidden underground bunkers, which Carol finds, and there's apparently a ring of garbage around the planet. Back in Harpswell, Carol's friends up there hear the news that Carol's missing. Walt from RAW mentioned, and it seems that the anomaly that Walt had been asking about is seen near the planet that Carol's owned by Carol. But one of Carol's friends manages to get in touch with Jessica Drew. The explanation that she's got a ship, now she's a pilot. Carol fights Nitro in space and is gets her ass thoroughly kicked. But Nada and Nitro show up on the planet, and Nada seems to offers the other survivors power. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting. There are some aspects of how Nocenti's writing Carol I'm not too fond of. It really feels like she's kind of leaning into how to Carol acting the way the kids from the youth center think of her, making it kind of seem like her criticisms are completely valid. Yeah. But anyways, moving on to our next book, we've got Night Terrors #3. Where we left off, Dead Man had resurrected Golden Age Sandman, and the Sleepless Knights had seemingly attacked their hideout at Terrific Corp. So Wesley Dawes is fighting off the Sleepless Knights, which briefly included, we had previously destroyed Red Tornado. Dead Man, possessing Batman, points out that the Knights aren't even remotely interested in Mr. Terrific, just those who are awake. But Robin shows up, Damian Wayne, and the trio manages to escape. Robin quickly notes that Batman is possessed, thinking it's a demon, though Boston explains that it's him, and Damian has Boston. I should have known. Sandman asks how it is that Damien's awake, with Damien explaining that he had a nightmare. Insomnia was his reason wanted Damien to forget, so he trained his mind to control his dreams. And also the art of staying awake. He utilized every single meditation technique he's ever learned. The whole world has only been asleep for a few hours, but for Damien, it feels like he's been awake for weeks. You feel the nightmares pulling at him. Deadman suggests trying to get an idea of just what it is Insomnia wants again, though Sandman points out that the last time Deadman did this, it led the Sleepless Nights directly to him, and, well, Boston points out that they're already on their trail, so what's a little peek going to hurt? We get some flashes of what's going on in the other tie-ins, and we see the man who becomes Insomnia at a survivor support group meeting, and the leader of the group is suggests that hopefully he will forgive the Justice League, but instead Insomnia kills the leader of the group, then cuts off his eyelids. But apparently Insomnia is running frustrated, can't find the Nightmare Stones, not in the nightmares. But John D told him it wasn't there here. It wasn't there. It wasn't in the living world, waking world either. He hid it away from the land of the living. And Damien just must be somewhere between waking and dreaming. And Sandman says if that's the case, that he might be of some help. Basically, making a new batch of his gas, using it on Batman and Robin, and they end up in the Between realm. One of the Sleepless Nights attacks Sandman, and they fight as Damian and Batman arrive in the in-between. The reality stream, as Deadman states others have called it. Damian, when Deadman states that Damian is the son of Batman, and says that must be cool. Damian says it sometimes, but him and his father are working on their relationship. They know how to be Batman and Robin, but they're not sure they know how to be father and son. Deadman says that he never had a chance to have a family. Always thought that the risks he took wasn't fair to bring another life into the world. But their names are being called. They go into an old cabin, which Boston calls the House of Horror, after he's been in the House of Secrets and the House of Mystery. So they end up in the Deadman states where they're at. He can feel the Nightmare Stone in his power, and it wants to be found. But they're in the circus where Deadman was shot. Apparently, Deadman is alive all this time. He's always told people that he was dead before he hit the ground, but that's apparently not. But that's not true. He felt the bullet. Felt it all. And Deadman and Robin wake up. They have the Nightmare Stone. They use it to stop insomnia, and Deadman adds that then his dreams can come true. Will come true. And that is where the issue ends. Ominous ending. I like that we're also getting some additional lore on Deadman. Moving on to our next book, we've got Night Terror's Robin #2. where we left off, former Robin Jason Todd and current-ish Robin Tim Drake were both sucked into the nightmare world, the nightmare realm. However, each had to face their own separate nightmares. At the end of the last issue, Jason realized that it was possible for him to communicate with Tim, though it wasn't easy. Nightmare is trying to break Tim and Jason, but Tim and Jason give each other pep talks. With Tim telling Jason, no one thinks that Jason's a failure. Jason didn't fail. Batman failed him. His mother failed him. Jason did what he was trained to do and survived. And Jason kind of spins around and be like, okay, I became a monster. I killed people. I'm perpetually alone. And Tim points out that he's never alone. He was never alone. Just because he pushes everyone away doesn't mean they've given up on him. He's got a lot to atone for. They all do. But Jason's more than his failures, and he's not alone. Tim's always there if he needs him. But and Jason says that okay, if Tim's right about him, then Tim's wrong about himself. Tim thinks he's just like Batman. He can save everyone, but he can't, and he shouldn't put that on himself. And with Tim, he wasn't chosen to Robin. He demanded it, and Jason says that it's good that he did because Tim's damn good at being Robin. Jason and Dick were chosen, but Tim chose himself, and that takes guts. Not able to save everyone, but he wants to. He'll never stop trying, and that's what counts. And so, Jason and Tim work together and to defeat their nightmares. They're having the individual nightmares they're dealing with. With Insomnia being surprised that he'd broken Tim. Why isn't Tim still broken? But the two of them attack their embodied nightmares and then manage to wake up. Jason realizes something's wrong and gets in touch with Tim. And the two of them, and Tim is en route to help Jason out. And that is where the issue ends. This is actually the last issue of the Night Terrors Robin miniseries. Each of these were 2-issue books, as Night Terrors is taking place over the course of just last month and this month. So, moving on though to our last book for the moment, we've got Night Terrors Zatanna #2, also wrapping up that miniseries. Where we left off, while fighting the Sleepless Knights and to protect the sleeping Wonder Woman and Detective Chimp, Zatanna and Robot Man. Robot Man was turned into another Sleepless Knight, an additional Sleepless Knight, who is now chasing Zatanna as the issue begins. Rustbringer. But Zatanna manages to evade him, as well as the other Sleepless Knights. Though she's still having to deal with a nightmare version of her father. But she manages to overcome that and manages to get a mystical blade, which she uses which ended up getting run through with the, the Sleepless Queen, the Nightmare Queen's blade. However, doing that, she's able to use a different blade and turn Robot Man back into Robot Man. They take down the Sleepless Knights, or at least black their eyes a little, and leading them to escape. Robot Man once again points out that he hates magic, though he, says no offense, and, well, Zatanna's kind of like, yeah, none taken. And so the series ends with Zatanna opening a portal to battle and suggesting that she and Robot Man bust some heads, hex and violence style. So far, we've seen the conclusions of a few of these now, and these actually even has a bit words. I can do them. These have been better. This has been a better story than I expected, and the tie-ins have been equally good. I like the way they're doing it. Kind of just, it's a common thing to kind of focus on other side characters, especially with a 4-issue event. That way, you don't have to have massive issues to be like, okay, well, this is what Zatanna's going through. This is what the Robins are going through. So yeah. But yeah, it's been a decent story. I liked it. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Big shout out to the Patreon patron Xander Lee. Wow. Thank you so much for your support. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.